time, and Marsha said to me, I'm going to be in California, not where you are, but I'm coming. Okay. And of course, my spiritual connections were different from Marsha's, but my spiritual teacher was my link to Dr. Marsha. And she knew of Dr. Dundon, and so she said to me, she said, I think that when you are back in New York, you want to make a connection with Dr. Dundon, which I did, and there was Dr. Marsha. But at this moment that I'm telling you about, when Marsha said, I feel I should be coming to California, I want to come to Antioch, that's where my teacher's ashram is. And so when she came, it was actually my spiritual teacher in Andaman who was in need of her services. So Marsha had this uncanny instinct of where she should be, how she should somehow manage to get there, and it was always amazing to me that she was able to travel on her scooter with at least 2 dogs and make it through airports and with luggage where you think that she'd be going on a journey for a year. And that was just one piece of the remarkable Marsha. I was trying to put my thoughts together for what I would say today. And I thought, I need to talk to my sister. I need a sounding board. I started to just review my experiences with Marsha, and I just emoted. I couldn't get through it, what I was going to say. So if you forgive me a little bit, I'm hoping that maybe by reading something that I had then written out will get me through to being able to tell you everything that I so deeply feel in my connections with Marsha over time. You know, in a way, there were times when we were like comrades in arms, in that we went through some of life's major battles together. And I've been deeply affected by Marsha and her absolutely dynamic being and every facet of it. But it all started back in 2007. And I first crossed into Dr. What happened? I first...
You hit the switch.
Hello. Hello.
Try a little side switch there.
That's interesting. I don't know. Do you know anything more about this than I do? Give an introduction.
Just leave there.
The glitch. Here's a bit of the chronology of my story and experiences with Marsha. I first crossed into Dr. Marsha's life and she into mine in 2007. At that point, I had a difficult cancer diagnosis, rare and aggressive, and I wanted an alternative in addition to following a traditional medical approach. I was guided to Dr. Dundon and then met Dr. Marsha, who became my dear physician and who was to become my dear friend. I'm here today in large part due to Dr. Marsha's magic. She was a true healer. To me, she was a blend of Albert Einstein and Auntie Mae, and I could never predict who would show up. That was her charm, and because she was so remarkable, I never doubted that I would be all right. She saw me successfully through 3 recurrences of my cancer. The last was in 2011. I had a life-saving surgery and spent about 6 weeks recovering at Hope Lodge in New York City. To show you her dedication, she visited me almost daily and treated me with acupuncture. She arranged for me to receive wholesome meals, and she sent her healing friends to visit so that I could receive Reiki and other healing modalities. A friend friend of mine who was staying with me for about a week recalls a memorable moment that I'm going to share with you. Pat's words. Pat said, "I'm sorry I can't attend the memorial service for Marsha. I would like to share a favorite memory. When Cheryl was recovering from her big operation, Marsha came to Hope Lodge where we were staying. We shared a Chinese takeout meal. Then Marsha took Cheryl into the meditation room to perform acupuncture. My job was to stand guard at the door, since we weren't supposed to be doing this. I found this whole thing quite funny, and it gave me a little insight into Marsha's way of doing things. She was independent, sure of herself, generous, and very kind, and always helping others. May her spirit rest in peace." Dr. Marsha morphed into Auntie May around 2008. It was on the occasion of the first birthday of Tashi and Woolf's litter. I was engaged in the event in order to transport to the location of the party the food and the 3 dogs that Marsha had living with her at the time. All the other dogs from the litter and their owners would be there. Marsha expected that the dogs would have been in training to be obedient service dogs. But at 1 year old, they were all rambunctious puppies, doing what rambunctious puppies do. Despite the undisciplined commotion, Marsha was pleased that her grandchildren, as she called them, were reunited for their first birthday. That event put us over the line from simply being doctor and patient to being friends. From this vantage point, Dr. Marsha introduced me to the things that gave her the greatest pleasure. I would very often get calls from Marsha late at night when she would check in on my health, and we would wander into the things that friends talk about. There were always the amazing stories that she told. When my phone would ring around 11 p.m., I know it would be Dr. Midnight. She took special pleasure in sharing the wisdom of her life experiences. Dr. Marsha was very private, but when her health problems surfaced and her life was upended after her stroke in 2014, we shared her difficult days. No matter what the obstacle, Dr. Marsha always had the belief that the outcome would be good. She might have to leave her apartment, which she envisioned living by the sea, or moving to a loft, or maybe an assisted living residence in New England. Though those outcomes did not materialize, she would always be Dr. Marsha wherever she was. As a nursing home resident, Dr. Marsha considered the other residents as her patients. She was often a challenge to the staff, but she trained them to allow her to live by her standards. In the later months of her illness, her memory became dim. One day she said at the end of our visit, "You're a nice lady. What is your name?" I engaged a bit fancifully, and I asked her what name she would like to call me. She called me Rinchin. It was the name of her favorite dog, and that took the edge off my sorrow that she didn't recall me. I always took her homemade sugar-free apple pie when I visited, and there was recognition of me through that. In time, when she could no longer put her words together into sentences, her responses were at best yes or no. The last time I was with her, I told her that I was going to California for a while, and I would pray for her while I was there. Somehow, through the fog of her thoughts, she managed to say, "Thank you for the pleasure of your company." Both of us knew it would be our last visit. I was deeply touched by her final words, and Marsha, whose spirit I know is here with us today, I say thank you for the pleasure of your company and for the time you spent with all of us who are here to honor your contribution to humanity and to our lives. May your commitment to a compassionate life and your dedication to the well-being of others propel your journey to enlightenment.